Hello everybody and welcome back to a new YouTube video of mine. Today we are going to be talking about why two luxury car makers and even global car makers have not cracked the code to the Indian car market. And there are a variety of reasons behind this. So I'll just state a few names to get started off with. Ford, General Motors, Harley Davidson, Mercedes, Audi, BMW. You have all heard these names before. And while the latter half, they're still stuck around in India, they are launching new vehicles also. The fact is that they haven't simply been able to deliver on growth. Their sales have been stagnating and they're just banking on a variety of factors which I'll get into later. Now, the former three which I mentioned, all of these three have left the car market. And while I know there's a parallel about how all these three are American car makers as such, but that's not the topic which we are going to be talking about, and we have already discussed this in a video previously. But these three marquee car or even bike makers as such, they left India as such on a variety of reasons, and this is similar to the reasons which are attributed to why even luxury car makers have simply been able to crack the code to the Indian market. Now, to start off with, one of the most important reasons which we need to address here is taxation. The fact is that luxury car makers account for even less than even the 2% of the market share of the entire market. And while the prices might be high and it might seem like they are contributing on the revenue front, the fact is that it is simply not the case because the volumes themselves are far too low. And in fact, one of the major problems is that these luxury car makers and their products are charged with a 28% GST. And this is really causing the prices to inflate, and so the original price without the tax as itself would be far lesser, but it is this 28% bracket which is actually dragging the prices way too up and ultimately making it unfeasible for many of the entry-level consumers as such to go ahead and actually invest their money to buying a car where you have other prices lower down in the price range which can equally deliver on the feature front or in some cases even on the driving front too. And this is really causing a headache for these luxury car makers to actually deliver on the sales front in a country like India when they already have a successful market running in the form of China. They simply haven't been able to deliver the same result in India. And while there's a huge difference as such in the market size between the two countries, the fact is that there simply isn't a growth trajectory which was similar to China as such currently in our Indian market. Now, this is also followed up by the second reason, which leads us into economies of scale. One of the biggest reasons which is cited by these luxury car makers and even the car makers which have left India too previously, like Ford, General Motors, or even other European car makers or even South Korean car makers like Daewoo, Opel. Many of these car makers have left the Indian market, and this is often the reason cited by them. Simply the lack of economies of scale, because ultimately a manufacturer would start to actually gain their benefit, a profit, when they start selling the car in a mass volume as such. Till the time they aren't able to do that, they won't be able to make back as much money as such, because there are other costs which need to be handled too, like your factory running costs, your employees, your marketing costs, which is currently one of the highest departments which would require the department with the highest allocation of money as such. So all of these factors in a combination really cause a headache for these luxury car makers or even the global automakers which we have discussed previously. And that is why there is a need to address this problem specifically. And ultimately it is only through either government incentives or through more awareness in the Indian consumer as such, where this change would actually take place. Otherwise, this change is simply isn't going to take place soon enough. This is a very long story as such. It was intertwined with the economic growth journey or growth story of India as such. Till the time the Indian economy doesn't start growing enough, you simply won't have enough high net worth individuals would actually be willing to go for luxury cars or even the prices which are charged by global car makers. Let's face it, many of these global car makers actually do have a bit of a higher pricing as such compared to especially the Indian counterparts in the segment, and this really causes a conundrum for these luxury car makers and even for the global automakers who have already left the Indian market. So till the time they were in India, they were also facing this very conundrum too, whether they continue investing in a market like India or simply back out and leave or even scale back their operations. And while this has been a problem, these reasons have been a problem and even causing other car makers like Tesla to actually detract and not enter the Indian market till the time they are allowed to actually they are given some kind of an incentive by the government, especially on the taxes front. But ultimately it is this very conundrum which is being addressed by these car makers, and it is despite these reasons manufacturers like BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, they continue to invest heavily in India. They believe in the Indian growth story, and that is why they have committed 50 new electric vehicles as such, new models as such to this market. And ultimately it is this very fact that still gives us hope that these luxury car makers are eventually able to make sure that they are able to gain more and more out of the market, and are not just there for making sure that they're present in the market, but are actually gaining something of the out of the market and actually adding to the India growth story as such. And ultimately it is this very point which allows me to end this video for today. I hope that you do like the insights which I shared in this video, and as always, do like, share the video, which really helps out, subscribe to my channel, and make sure that you are stay tuned for the next one. Thank you so much.